All right, let's get into this, because this is genuinely one of the most unhinged stories in modern history. It's a crazy story about how an entire empire's massive craving for a caffeinated drink led directly to an international drug trafficking scheme and a absolutely devastating war. I mean, seriously, think about it. Would you, I don't know, maybe start a small fight, a major international incident perhaps? Because, well, that's pretty much exactly what happened. This wasn't some war over territory or grand ideology. Not really. At its very core, this was a war fought to keep the tea flowing. So, to understand how we even get to a war, we first have to wrap our heads around this huge economic problem that Britain was facing. And it all came down to a simple but very one-sided obsession. You see, the problem was actually pretty straightforward. The British public just could not get enough of Chinese goods, especially tea. But China, under the Qing dynasty, was basically self-sufficient. They really didn't have much interest in British stuff, like wool. So for all that precious tea, they wanted one thing: cold, hard silver. And we're not talking about a small leak here. This was a flood. Entire ships packed with silver were sailing out of Britain and straight to China, with almost nothing of value coming back the other way. This was creating a massive trade deficit that was becoming a serious threat to the British economy. And to put it, bluntly, the British merchants and the government saw this whole situation as a major wrench in the gears of their global empire. Something had to be done to get that silver flowing back. And the solution they came up with was, from a purely economic perspective, brilliant. From a moral one, it was catastrophic. They basically decided that if they couldn't find a product the Chinese wanted, they would create a demand for one. Their plan was this perfect, nasty, closed loop of trade. So, step 1. British merchants grow opium super cheaply in their colonies in India. Step 2, they'd smuggle it into China, where, by the way, it was completely illegal, and sell it to a growing population of addicts for silver. And then finally, step 3, they'd use that exact same silver to buy Chinese tea. The money didn't even have to leave the region. And the plan worked frighteningly well. Demand for opium just skyrocketed. What started as this little trickle of illegal trade completely exploded into a massive, state-sponsored drug operation. I mean, look at this. It jumped from about 680,000 pounds in the early 1800s to over 5 million pounds a year by the 1830s. The social cost in China was just immense. This wasn't some isolated problem in port cities. This addiction crisis spread through all of society, crippling productivity and tearing families apart. So, and this is the key, Britain had solved its silver problem by creating a massive public health crisis in another country. Well, eventually, the Qing emperor decided he had to act. He ordered his officials to confiscate and destroy the source of the problem. In one huge, decisive move, they seized and destroyed a massive stockpile of British-owned opium right there in the port of Canton. Now, Britain's response to having their illegal drugs destroyed wasn't negotiation, it was war. And this is where the story just takes an even more absurd turn. The British government, pushed by its powerful merchants, literally framed themselves as the victims. They argued that China had destroyed private British property and demanded compensation by force. On paper, you might look at this and think China had the advantage with way more troops. But the real story here was technology. The Qing dynasty's old-school wooden ships were just no match for Britain's modern steam-powered gunboats. The British could sail right up China's rivers and strike wherever they wanted, turning the war into a tragically one-sided affair. The result was a swift and decisive British victory. And that victory led to one of the most infamous treaties in modern history, often called the first of the unequal treaties. So what was the price of defeat? Well, China was forced to open its doors to foreign trade on Britain's terms, give up the incredibly strategic island of Hong Kong, and, most insultingly of all, pay for all the illegal opium they had destroyed, plus Britain's costs for invading them. The sheer scale of that financial penalty was just staggering: 26 million silver dollars. This was a blow specifically designed to financially cripple the Chinese government. And to put that number in a context we can all understand today, we are talking about nearly $1 billion, all to pay back drug traffickers for their destroyed product. But here's the ultimate bitter irony. After all of this, after the war, the defeat, the humiliation, the treaty didn't even stop the opium trade. In fact, by forcing open new ports and weakening the Qing government, it just made it easier than ever for opium to pour into the country. Britain got its tea, and the drug trade was basically institutionalized. It's a really shocking piece of history, and it forces us to ask a deeply uncomfortable question. This entire conflict, from that first smuggled chest of opium all the way to the final treaty, really serves as this dark historical case study for what can happen when a nation's economic interests completely override any sense of human morality.
No. Wait. Wait.